The night breaks open with thunder, loud enough to shake the bones of the forest. Rain pours like the sky has finally given up, soaking the ground, soaking her hair, soaking the blood already slick on her skin. She is running. Not carefully, not gracefully, just running. Bare feet tearing against stones and thorns, lungs burning, heart slamming so hard it feels like it might break through her ribs. She doesn't look back. She doesn't have to. She can hear them. The howls rise behind her, sharp and familiar, cutting through the storm like knives. Not strangers. Not enemies from another land. These are her people. Her pack. The ones who once called her sister. The sound of them chasing her hurts more than the wounds on her body. That truth sinks deeper with every step she takes. Her ankle gives way, but she forces herself upright. Pain screams through her leg, but fear screams louder. Rain blurs her vision. Her breath comes out broken, uneven, tasting of iron and panic. Don't shift. Not now. If they see the silver, the thought fractures before it finishes. Something stirs inside her, hot and restless, pressing against her chest like it wants out. She fights it, clamping down hard, even as the ground beneath her feet cracks without warning. A jagged line splits the earth where she steps, spreading outward like lightning trapped in soil. She stumbles, shocked, staring for half a second too long. The trees bend toward her as she passes. Not from the wind, from her. She doesn't understand it. She doesn't have time to. Her strength finally gives out near the edge of a cliff, stone rising like the broken wall of some forgotten estate. She slams into it, our palms scraping raw, and slides down into the mud. Her body trembles as she curls inward, rain washing red from her hands, her shoulders shaking with breath she can't slow. The howls stop. That's worse, because silence means they're close. She presses her forehead against the cold stone, eyes squeezed shut, whispering nothing, because there are no prayers left that haven't already been ignored. And that's when it happens. The feeling. That subtle shift in the air. The quiet certainty that she is no longer alone. From the darkness beyond the rain, unseen eyes watch her. Calm. Focused. Unrushed. Whoever it is doesn't step forward. Doesn't make a sound. They just observe, as if this moment, her fear, her blood, her breaking, is exactly what they were waiting to see. If you love intense werewolf romance stories filled with secrets, power, and fate, subscribe now to Moonlight Maid Story. And stay with us. A voice breaks through the rain, low, steady, unshaken by the storm. Enough. It isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. The word carries weight, like the forest itself recognizes the authority in it. Her pursuers freeze. Even the rain seems to hesitate. She lifts her head slowly, breath hitching, mud streaked across her cheek, heart pounding so hard it hurts. Footsteps approach. Unhurried, controlled. A man steps into the thin light cast by the lightning. Tall, broad-shouldered, wrapped in a dark coat already soaked through. His presence presses down on the air, thick and heavy, an invisible force that makes her wolf recoil and rise at the same time. In his hand is a cane, polished and solid, its tip sinking into the mud with each step. His eyes are pale, unfocused, are blind. He stops a few paces away and turns his head, not toward the wolves behind her, but toward her, directly toward her. She's done running, he says calmly. The wolves snarl. One lunges. He moves before she can scream. The cane snaps out, striking with brutal precision. A body hits the ground. Another attack comes from the side. He pivots, dodges cleanly, never stumbling, never misjudging the space. He doesn't look panicked. He doesn't look surprised. He knows exactly where they are, exactly how many. Leave, he commands, voice edged with something dangerous. Or crawl back without your pride. They hesitate, growl, then retreat, vanishing into the trees, fear overriding bloodlust. Silence rushes back in. Her chest heaves as she stares at him, confusion crashing over relief. He exhales slowly, then turns fully toward her again. Get up, Leora. Her blood runs cold. No one has spoken her name in years. I didn't tell you. Her voice cracks. She pushes herself back against the stone, instincts screaming. "Who are you?" He tilts his head slightly, listening, studying her breathing, the way her weight shifts. "Someone who knows what hunts these woods," he says, "and what they do to girls like you." She laughs weakly, bitter. "You're blind." "Yes." "Then how did you—" "Because sight isn't the only way to see," he replies, calm as ever. Her wolf slams against her ribs, furious, confused. Not recognition, rejection, denial sharp enough to hurt. Power coils in her stomach, reacting to him like fire to oil, demanding distance even as something deeper pulls her closer. He steps aside and gestures with the cane toward the broken wall behind her. "There's shelter nearby. You're safe. For now." She doesn't move. Trust has always been the first thing that gets her killed. And yet, standing in the rain with blood on her hands and nowhere left to run, she knows one thing with terrifying clarity. This man is far more dangerous than the wolves who chased her, and for reasons she doesn't understand, her fate has just shifted in his shadow. As they move through the broken archway and into the hollowed shelter beyond, the storm fades into a distant roar. The walls hold the cold back just enough for her body to stop shaking. She sinks down against the stone, exhaustion finally catching her, and the moment her eyes flutter shut, the past crashes in. She's 15 again, standing barefoot in the ritual circle. The moon is full, bright enough to bleach the color from the world. Elders chant. Wolves watch. Or she remembers the hope in her chest, fragile and desperate, the quiet prayer that tonight she would finally belong. Then the fire came. Not red. Not gold. Silver. It burst from her skin like a scream she didn't know she was holding, slamming into the stones, cracking them open. The runes burned white hot. The air turned sharp, metallic. She remembers the way everyone stepped back at once, fear moving faster than thought. "Stop her! She's cursed! An abomination!" Hands grabbed her, rough, panicked. Someone pressed iron to her shoulder. The pain was blinding. She smelled her own flesh burn as the mark was seared into her skin, proof of rejection. Omega, exile, no trial, no questions, just terror and relief that it wasn't them. She was shoved beyond the pack borders before dawn. She learned quickly that her power was not a gift. Every time she tried to shift fully, the silver flame surged too hard, too fast, threatening to erase her mind along with her body. Control meant suppression. Survival meant loneliness. Trust became a weakness she carved out of herself piece by piece. Back in the present, she feels hands at her ankle. Steady. Careful. She jerks awake with a sharp inhale, instinct flaring, but he's already there, kneeling, close but not crowding. His fingers are warm as he cleans the cut along her foot, movements precise, practiced. He doesn't hesitate, doesn't fumble, doesn't search. Blind, her mind whispers. Liar, her wolf snarls. "You're shaking," he says quietly. She laughs under her breath, raw and humorless. "I've had worse nights. I don't doubt that." The way he says it, no pity, no disbelief, unsettles her more than kindness ever could. His hands wrap the bandage with exact pressure, never once touching where it hurts too much. It feels intimate despite the space he keeps, like he's learned her boundaries without being told. She studies his face, the calm mask, the stillness that feels earned, not practiced. Power coils beneath his skin, restrained so tightly it hums. "You're hiding something," she says. A pause. "Barely there." "So are you," he replies. The words land softly, but they split something open inside her. For the first time in years, the silver flame doesn't rage. It quiets. Not gone. Just listening. And that terrifies her more than being hunted ever did. Because for the first time since the night she was cast out, she doesn't feel invisible. She feels seen. They leave before dawn, when the world is still holding its breath. The storm has burned itself out, leaving the forest slick and steaming, every leaf heavy with rain. She follows him through narrow paths that feel less like trails and more like memories. Old, half-forgotten, but stubbornly alive. The deeper they go, the quieter it becomes. No birds, no insects. Even the wind seems to pull back. The grove waits for them. Stone pillars rise from the earth like bones, carved with symbols so worn they look grown rather than built. Roots twist through cracked altars. Moss glows faintly, silver-threaded, pulsing in time with her heartbeat. The moment her foot crosses the threshold, the air changes. It thickens, warms, listens. She feels it before she sees it. The markings along the stones ignite one by one, soft silver light spreading outward, responding to her presence as if she's always been expected. Her breath catches. The flame inside her stirs, not wild this time, but focused, aching, drawn forward. No, she whispers, taking a step back. The ground hums beneath her. Images crash into her mind without warning. A throne engulfed in silver fire, untouched by ash. An alpha on his knees, head bowed, not in weakness but in surrender. Wolves filling a vast clearing, some bowing, some screaming, some falling beneath a sky split open with light. Power and loss braided so tightly she can't tell where one ends and the other begins. Voices rise around her, layered and ancient, neither male nor female, neither kind nor cruel. The one with the silver flame, the child of balance. She drops to her knees, palms pressed to the glowing earth, gasping as the visions sharpen. She feels every death like a bruise, every bow like a weight. The future presses in on her ribs until breathing hurts. Behind her, he stiffens. She doesn't need to look to know his face has gone still, the calm cracking at last. He knows these words. He's heard them before. Feared them. This prophecy, he says carefully, each word measured, was meant to be a warning. She turns to him, eyes bright with reflected fire. To who? To everyone, he answers. Power like yours doesn't save kingdoms. It ends them. The silver flame coils tighter, responding not with anger but with certainty. It doesn't argue. It doesn't beg. It simply exists. Her voice breaks when she speaks again, quieter now, stripped bare. Then why does it feel like it chose me? For a long moment, he says nothing. The ruins glow between them, ancient and awake, bearing witness. Because deep down, beneath the fear and the lies, they both know the same terrible truth. Destiny doesn't ask permission. It only waits. The forest does not give them time to recover. The first scent hits the air like a blade. Foreign, sharp, laced with dominance that does not belong. Her head snaps up. His body goes rigid beside her, every muscle locking into readiness. The grove's light dims, as if even the ancient stones know what is coming. Footsteps crash through the trees. Heavy. Confident. Many. Rival alphas emerge from the shadows, their wolves close to the surface, eyes glowing with suspicion and hunger. Power presses in from all sides, thick enough to choke on. This isn't a misunderstanding, it's a reckoning. Their gazes slide past him and land on her. Everything changes. She's the weapon, one of them snarls, voice sharp with accusation. You felt it. We all did. Another laughs, cold and cruel. An Omega carrying that kind of power? That's how packs burn. She takes a step back, heart slamming against her ribs. The silver flame inside her stirs, agitated, defensive. She clamps down hard, afraid of what will happen if it answers their fear. They circle closer. The alpha steps in front of her without thinking, cane planted firmly in the earth. His presence pushes back, dominant, commanding silence for half a heartbeat. It's enough to remind them who he is. Not enough to end this. You were warned, an elder alpha says. Hand her over, now. His jaw tightens. She's under my protection. A ripple of disbelief runs through them, then anger. Your protection doesn't outweigh the pack, another snaps. You're risking all of us. Voices rise. Accusations stack. His leadership is dissected in real time, loyalty questioned, authority fraying at the edges. She hears it all, standing just behind him, every word carving deeper than claws. Then the sentence that breaks her. Choose the pack, someone says, loud enough for her to hear, or choose the girl. Silence falls. He doesn't answer fast enough. It's not hesitation born of doubt, but she doesn't stay long enough to understand that. Guilt crashes over her in a brutal wave. This is what follows her: ruin, division, blood waiting to be spilled because she exists. Before anyone notices, she turns. She runs. Branches tear at her skin as she breaks into the trees, lungs burning, tears hot against her face. Not from fear, never fear. From knowing that if she stays, he will fall with her. Behind her, shouts erupt. Power surges, but she doesn't slow. Her vow forms with every pounding step. She will not be the reason he loses everything. If the world wants a monster to blame, she will carry it alone. And this time, she won't come back broken. She doesn't stop running until the cold bites deep enough to blur her thoughts. By the time she stumbles into the narrow mouth of the cave, night has fully settled, heavy and watchful. The fire is already there when she turns, low, controlled, as if it's been waiting. He steps out of the shadows a second later, coat dusted with snow, expression unreadable. He didn't chase her like a hunter. He followed like someone afraid to lose her. Inside the cave, the world narrows to heat and breath, and the quiet crackle of flames. The walls glow amber, pushing back the winter's cruelty. Her hands shake as she lowers herself to the stone floor, exhaustion finally claiming its price. He kneels across from her, close enough that she feels his warmth, far enough that he gives her space. It matters more than he knows. For a long moment, neither of them speaks. Then he breaks first. "I'm not what they think I am," he says softly, voice stripped of command. The cane rests against the rock, forgotten. "I carry the title, but not the truth of it. I was never meant to rule. I was meant to guard, to protect what others were too afraid to face." She studies him through the firelight, the lines of him suddenly human. Burdened. Tired. "Then why pretend?" she asks. "Because monsters listen when they think you're weak." The admission settles between them, heavy but honest. Something in her chest loosens. She swallows, fingers curling into her palm. "I'm afraid," she says, and the words tasting like blood. "Not of them, of me. Every time the silver rises, I feel myself slipping. If I lose control..." Her voice fractures. "I don't know who I'll become." The flame responds, flickering brighter, drawn to the truth of her fear. He shifts closer, slow, deliberate. When his hand covers hers, it's steady, grounding. "You're still here," he says. "That means you're stronger than it is." Their faces are inches apart now, breath tangles. The air hums with everything unspoken. She leans in before she can stop herself. He freezes, not in rejection but restraint, a promise held tight. "I see you," he whispers, voice rough with feeling he refuses to name. "All of you." Hope sparks, fragile and dangerous. For the first time, she lets herself believe that maybe she doesn't have to choose between power and love. But the fire crackles louder, as if warning them. This peace is borrowed, and storms always come to reclaim what was never meant to last. The betrayal doesn't come with a scream. It comes with silence. The cave empties at dawn, replaced by stone and torchlight and too many eyes. She feels it before she understands it. The way the air tightens. The way whispers coil around her name like a noose. They stand her in the center of the council ring, ancient markings carved into the ground humming faintly beneath her bare feet. The Alpha is beside her, close enough that she can feel the tension in his body, the restraint pulling him apart from the inside. Then someone speaks the words that were never meant to be spoken aloud. The silver flame has awakened. The room shifts, faces harden, fear curdles into something uglier. Images are dragged from prophecy, twisted until they bleed meaning. They call her a harbinger, a weapon, a mistake that should have been erased generations ago. Every sentence sharpens the blade hanging over her head. She searches his face, waiting for him to speak, to deny it, to choose her. But he hesitates, just long enough. That pause cuts deeper than any blade. It tells her everything she was afraid to believe. That truth is fragile when weighed against power. That love, when tested, is never guaranteed. Execution is the only answer, the council declares, voices steady with certainty they do not deserve. Something inside her breaks. The silver flame answers before she can stop it. It surges up her spine, wild and furious, spilling into the world in a blinding rush. Snow ignites, stone fractures, and the ground trembles as light tears through the circle, scattering wolves like shadows at dawn. She screams, not in pain, but in grief so sharp it feels endless. He reaches for her. Too late. She pulls away, eyes burning with a power she no longer tries to contain. In that moment, she is done begging, done hoping, done waiting for permission to exist. She turns her back on them all and disappears into the storm, leaving fire and ruin in her wake. The night swallows her whole, but she does not vanish. She becomes something else. And as the ashes settle, one truth remains. What they tried to destroy has only just begun to rise. The night presses down around her as she steps deeper into the forest, the charred remnants of the ritual fading behind her. Each footfall is careful, deliberate, barely disturbing the frost-coated leaves beneath her. The silver flame within her still hums, a quiet song of power, vengeance, and destiny, pulsing through her veins like a heartbeat that belongs to the earth itself. The air smells of rain-soaked soil and burned wood, thick with tension, and every shadow seems to move with intent, watching, waiting, knowing. Her senses are alive in ways she can't fully name. Every rustle, every distant howl, every snapping twig sets her nerves on fire, and yet there is clarity in it all. She feels the weight of what she has become, and the loneliness of the path she must walk. No one can shield her from what comes next. No one can understand the storm raging inside, the power she has barely begun to command, the destiny that will demand everything of her. She tastes the cold on her tongue, hears the whispered echoes of voices, some her own, some ancestral, reminding her of what was taken, what must be reclaimed. A voice breaks the wind, low and haunting, almost inside her mind rather than outside. She is not the only one. The true alpha hasn't risen. Yet. The words curl around her like smoke, leaving a chill in their wake. She stops, heart hammering, pulse thundering in her ears. Somewhere out there, beyond the trees, someone, or something, watches, waits, measuring her strength, waiting for the moment when she will either falter or rise. Her wolf stirs beneath her skin, hungry, restless, aware that this is only the beginning, that the world beyond this forest is not yet ready for what she is becoming. The moon above dims, a silver shard swallowed by clouds, and darkness folds around her like a promise. In that hush, that heavy, waiting silence, the forest itself seems to hold its breath. She walks forward, alone but unbroken, every step carrying the weight of fire, destiny, and secrets yet unrevealed. The night is endless, but she is relentless. And somewhere, far beyond the reach of sight, the true alpha has yet to awaken, setting the stage for battles, choices, and fated encounters that will shake the world to its core. The screen fades to black, but the echo of her power, her fury, her destiny lingers, haunting, relentless, calling you back for more.